The UK vote to leave the European Union has opened up a period of great uncertainty that goes way beyond Europe. To discuss this, I am joined by the Asia editor at the banker, Stefania Palma. Stefania, thank you for joining me. So there is great uncertainty, but one thing we know for sure is that the pound has dived, and this has had great repercussions on the markets that you very closely look at.
Exactly, and I think it's very interesting to look at what happened in currencies in Japan and China, which are sort of at opposite ends. In fact, in Japan's case, already starting on Friday, the currency appreciated past the 100 yen to the dollar mark, and today on Monday almost reached 102, and this really worries Japanese institutions because it makes obviously exports less competitive. This is problematic in the country where growth is very slow. It is grappling with deflation, so it's not an easy time. In fact, today Prime Minister Abe called an emergency meeting with the finance ministry, the central bank. He told the finance ministry to basically say just take any needed solutions to keep the currency in check, and there might also be some analysts say the Bank of Japan might further ease monetary policy, and we must remember we're already at 0% interest rates in Japan.
So grave repercussions in Japan. We're recording this obviously on demand 2 working days after the Brexit vote took place. So Japan, great case in point, but also China. What's happening in China?
Exactly. So basically overnight, the central bank has moved the midpoint of the range within which the yuan, the renminbi, can float. It's not a freely floating currency. It has a band. The midpoint of that band is now at the lowest point since December 2010. Essentially, this is basically a signal from institutions that it's letting the currency devalue. This makes obviously exports more competitive. It always is a bit of a geopolitical point of tension, and some analysts say actually that it might be a good time for the central bank to widen the band even further. This means obviously that devaluation could be even stronger going forward.
And another aspect that's related to Asia that you've been looking at is the potential surge in M&A activity. How do you think Brexit may have an impact on this?
So essentially, we've recorded in the last couple of years record growth and record volumes of outbound M&A coming from a country like China, but also smaller countries like the Philippines, for example. And one of the reasons why is also because foreign assets are quite cheap. And now, if the sterling keeps on dropping as it has been and other non-dollar currencies keep on dropping, like the euro, then it might prove another point in favor for more outbound M&A volumes to surge and for more companies to come to places like Europe or the UK to buy up local firms.
And the sector where Brexit may also very likely have a strong impact is the financial services sector. So London is regarded as a leading international financial centre and one that serves as inspiration, also provides quite a lot of services to other markets, including the big ones in Asia. But the region also has its own very strong international markets and financial centres such as Hong Kong and Singapore. Do you think that this may change things?
I mean, essentially before the referendum, one of the professors of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences and one of the panels I was chairing at the EDB just said flat out, I mean, one of the biggest points that China is looking at when we talk about Brexit is London as a financial centre. That is the main worry. And the thing is that London is quite replaceable, I think, in China's eyes, because you do have centres like Hong Kong and Singapore. They're very advanced and they're becoming extremely international. So because there are so many alternatives, even Frankfurt in Europe, for example, I think that if London starts losing its attractiveness as in terms of being very international, passporting rights, gateway to Europe, and also in terms of stability. Exactly, stability. That is something that a lot of markets like China like to see when they choose a financial center to operate in. If that is the case, then maybe more business will start moving within Asia.
Thank you, Stefania.